Welcome to Big Daddy Story Time. We're reading Franklin Celebrates. Hey, can you see Franklin there? Franklin the turtle and his friend Goose. That is, wow, that's cool. Look at Franklin and Goose dancing and singing. Would you like to read a story about Franklin Celebrates? You would? Okay, let's get started. Okay, Franklin could count by twos and tie his shoes. He knew the days of the week, the months of the year, and the holidays in every season. Soon it would be Halloween, and just as Franklin was beginning to think about ghosts, goblins, and jack-o'-lanterns, he was invited to a party for a holiday that he knew nothing about. Franklin hurried home from school. A letter was waiting for him on the table. Franklin tore open the letter, and it was an invitation. It was from Goose. She was having a Migration Eve party on the weekend. A party! Exclaimed Franklin. He ran to find his parents. Franklin showed his mother the invitation. "What's Migration Eve?" he asked. "It's a goose holiday," she replied. "It marks the day geese leave their summer homes and fly south for the winter." Franklin was puzzled. But geese don't migrate, he pointed out. "Her family doesn't," agreed Franklin's mother, "but lots of her friends and relatives do. Maybe you can ask Goose about Migration Eve at school tomorrow," suggested Franklin's father. But Goose wasn't at school the next day. "This is a very special time for Goose," explained Mr. Owl. "She's helping her family get ready for the festivities." Franklin told Mr. Owl that he was invited to the Migration Eve party. "It's a wonderful celebration," said Mr. Owl. "Lots of geese will be there, old and young. There will be special food and songs, and why, you'll probably be taught the migration dance." Franklin looked worried. "That's a dance?" he asked. After school, Franklin told his mother all about Migration Eve. "There'll be lots of food that I've never eaten," he grumbled, "and I'll have to sing songs I don't know, and then I'll have to learn a dance, and I don't want to dance." Franklin looked a big bit, of his fly and jelly sandwich. He looked long at it, that is. "And what if I have to talk to geese I don't know?" he added. His mother smiled and gave him a big hug. "Don't worry, Franklin," she said. "Goose will be there. She will have a good time." The night before the party, Franklin said his tummy was jumpy. "Maybe I shouldn't go tomorrow," he said. "I don't think I should eat strange food and dance around." "Oh dear," said his mother as she tucked him into bed. I was counting on your help tomorrow. I wanted to make a blueberry pie to send to Mrs. Goose." Franklin sighed. "At least there'll be one thing at the party he could eat." In the morning, Franklin helped his mother make two blueberry pies. Then he scrubbed his face and hands and put on his best clothes. "Now remember to say please and thank you," said his mother. "And have fun," said his father. Franklin nodded. "Yep, yep, yep. But I'm not going to dance," he mumbled. When Franklin arrived, Geese's home was overflowing with guests. Tables were set up on the lawn and piled high with food. A band was playing music, da 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 da, and gooselings were running around everywhere, sneaking treats from the dessert table and scampering off to hide. "Franklin," cried Goose, "I'm so glad you're here." Mrs. Goose took Franklin's pies. "Thank you, Franklin," she said. "How thoughtful." Goose led Franklin across the lawn. "First, let's eat," she said. "You'll have to try some of everything." Franklin felt his tummy beginning to flip flop, but then he looked at the food. This food is all normal," he said. Goose looked puzzled. Of course it's normal, she replied. And it's yummy! Goose heaped Franklin's plate with a bit of everything. We'll always begin with ice cream, she explained. That reminds us that the cold is coming. Then we have mashed potatoes. They're like the clouds we fly through on our way south. Then a cob of corn covered in butter. That's yellow for the sun on our wings. Franklin ate and listened to Goose talk about her traditions. And we finish with a donut, but you have to share it with someone. That means we're sharing our journey together. Franklin smiled and gave half of his donut to Goose. When Goose left to help her mother, she introduced Franklin to her Grampy and Granny. Franklin sat down and wondered what to say. It's hard to migrate, he thought, and he finally asked, Oh, very hard, replied Grampy, and dangerous too. Then Grampy told one tale after another. Franklin listened wide-eyed to the scary stories. He laughed when Grampy told the funny story about how Great Uncle Goosebert lost his tail feathers. Grampy talked until he fell asleep. Thank you, Franklin, said Gammy. You've been a wonderful listener, and Grampy loves to tell his tales. Franklin grinned. Soon Goose came rushing over for Franklin. We've started the migration dance. Come on, come on. All the geese were in a V formation on the lawn. Franklin tried to hang back, but Goose tugged him on his arm, pushed him forward. Soon he was standing in the formation with everyone else. Stomp, stomp, clap, clap. Lift your wings, flap and flap and flap. Turn on the moon and do-si-do. Now bow to where the warm wind blows. Shimmy, 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 shake, 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 shake. Now it's time to do the migrate. In no time at all, Franklin was singing and stomping and laughing with the others. Oh boy. When it was time for the real migration to begin, there were hugs and tears and shouting goodbyes. Those who were leaving lined up on the hillside. Franklin stood beside Goose. They watched as the V formation of geese flew across the moon. One day I will be with them, Franklin whispered Goose. Franklin smiled at his friend. I sure hope you invite me to your party, said Franklin. I wouldn't miss Migration Eve for anything. Oh, great. That's so cool. What have we learned today, my friends? We learned from Franklin, Goose, and Migration Day that celebrating new things with family and friends is part of growing up. Have a special day, my friends. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more Big Daddy Story Time. God bless.